Hey, welcome in. If you're just clicking on this is just me testing out the live stream feature. So now that my channel has been fully monetized, I think I'm pretty good for live streaming. And my plan is to react to some older It's Complicated channel videos. I chose one called Foreign Women. And yeah, I just thought I'd give it a couple minutes before I pull up the video. And I thought I'd just try out this live streaming and see if it's worth doing, because it could be fun and it is a lot more chill than having to edit stuff. So okay. Oh, shit. And then the next thing I need to do is pull up my chat. What the hell? Pop out chat. I'm just going to give it about 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'll start the video. Hopefully there's some people in here. If not, that's too bad. I'll just treat it like a regular video. It doesn't say that I'm live. That's weird. Oh, it could be because it's private, huh? Shit. That could be an issue. Did I set this to private? Oh, hell no. Public. No. All right, I'm going to start and stop this. Okay, I think I had some streaming issues there. It was set to private, so I just updated that to public. I don't think anybody really saw the first 3 minutes of this, so that's too bad, but I'm just trying out the live stream feature, seeing if that's worth doing. My plan is to just go over some of these older It's Complicated videos. He has one called Foreign Women, which I thought would be pretty cool to react to live. So hopefully the chat's working now. I think because I had it set to private before it wasn't working. Let me just do a test there. Oh, shit. All right. That's good. So I'll pop that out and get it right in front of me so I can see who's chatting. I'm just going to probably give it like 5 minutes and, you know, see if anybody comes in. And if not, I'll probably just react to the video anyways, but I'll probably take this down later. So we'll see how that goes. So I got this video. It's about 13 minutes long. And let's hope some folks get in here. Shit. I should probably change the category for this. Gaming, people and blogs. Nah, I'll keep it news and politics. Oh, shit. That's weird. Okay. Oh, here we go. So it looks like it's working. Yep, we're good. All right, I'm just going to chill for a few minutes. If anybody's in there, God bless you. Hello. And I'm just going to give it a few more seconds, see if anybody comes in. If anybody comes in, then great. We'll just start the reaction. Live streaming is kind of tough when, you know, nobody's really talking. So that's the benefits of just posting a video and then forgetting about it. But live streaming is also nice because you don't have to edit. Not really anyways, but if, you know, something goes down and it's live, there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, hey. You know, I was going to tell you something. I was going to be like, hey, I'm going to react to your video, but I didn't want to say nothing because I was like, man, I figured the stream would probably just go nowhere. So I was going to maybe put it up and then delete it and at least test everything. But I got foreign women here, man. I got foreign women. That was the one I chose to go to today. I thought about doing Ren Fair, but I was like, I'll save that for a longer video. We'll see if anyone actually pops into the chat, though I kind of doubt that they will. So yeah, I wanted to message, but stream looks good. Perfect. Looks like sound's probably pretty good too. I think I'll just go ahead and start reacting to it just for the hell of it. So this will be a good practice one. I probably will take this down after. And hey, check out my sweet camera views. This is my webcam right here. And we got this one, and we'll probably just keep it here. So all right, hell yeah. I'm just gonna get into this, man. I'm about to react to this like there's 1,000 people watching me or something. Sound might be too loud, actually.
What do you think of women in other cultures and how they treat their men?
Ooh, I think foreign women treat their men great. They have traditional values, they cook for them, they clean for them, and they know their roles.
It's pretty interesting that it's a woman that answered that question first.
I feel like in other cultures, a lot of women are more submissive.
Define other cultures. Are we talking like where woman is like the housekeeper and men do the work, but the women serve the men? Because those women, they're doing a job, but I don't want to do that job.
It's almost like she wanted to say, well, those women are oppressed. And like, it seemed like she had this moment where she's like, damn, I don't want to offend every other culture in the world, or at least most of them, by saying they're doing something wrong. But then she kind of like had to dance around that at the end and say, well, I don't want to do that, but
It's a little bit more stricter on women, so like they can't really like do what they want to as far as going outside and like having fun and stuff in other cultures as much as they can in America.
Do you think those women are ignorant slaves or are they happy?
I think
that's a damn good question, because it's like right in between. I mean, it's not right in between, but it is like from ignorant slave all the way to happy. Is that's a pretty far, like, it's like one or the other. Let's see.
they're doing what they need to do to get by. I think they're doing what they think they're supposed to.
Oh no, they're not ignorant.
It's almost like she wants to say like they're stuck in the matrix. They're doing what they're conditioned to do. They have no agency. They've been tricked and they need to be freed.
Slaves. I believe most of them are happy and stuff. My grandma's a traditional woman and she's very happy, so.
They treat their men very well. They actually worship their men. I see a lot of standing behind their men, waiting for their men. Even just the other day, I saw this lady get out of her Uber, leaving her husband in a car and just walked away. I wouldn't see that in a Eastern country or a more egalitarian country.
I think it's because they want to. The only reason why I'm gonna say that is because of the way they're brought up. They're told differently to, like, you know, actually do certain things for that man that just comes second nature.
Because they want to, like, nobody over there like force girls. They're free. Like the girls like choose to do it.
Nobody's forcing no one.
Countries that are
That's like the most important thing, I think, when it comes to this whole debacle, you know, especially where it's like, oh, women should be submissive or they should do this or they should do that. But as from a guy's perspective, all this means a lot more when they actually want to do that stuff for you. If they don't want to, or they're not happy about it or whatever, then it's all just a waste. But you do see that in foreign women. They actually do want to do that, and then that actually makes you like feel better on the inside because they want to do these things for you. But if they do those things for you and they don't want to, and you can kind of tell that, then it's like, just don't do this for me, please.
Aren't necessarily third world, don't have as many doesn't have as much infrastructure or as many opportunities or as many options. So it kind of forces the woman and the people there to kind of follow structures that are a little bit more traditional and a little bit more natural to them.
I like what he's saying there, you know, because I've been to some foreign places that were extremely rough economically, and when you have to, like, it's falling into a traditional role is the better way to survive, but basically it's like another way to say what he said is that there's not the same availability of technology and goods and services, you know. So it's like if birth control is not available to you like that, if there's no social security programs like welfare and education programs and food service like we have it here, and they got to grow their own food, I mean, it's going to be really fast that people are most comfortable in a traditional role, and that's what's encouraged to survive.
Do you think those women are ignorant slaves, or are they happy?
They're happy. Happiness is when you can have a family and you can grow something from scratch, from nothing.
Why do you think so many men are traveling overseas to find wives in other countries?
Men are traveling overseas to find wives. Why? I'm right here. I'm single. Why? I want to be married.
Right, but I'm saying, do you typically see women traveling overseas to find
men are
husbands?
traveling overseas to countries that have less money and less education, it's because they want a woman who is dependent on them for their livelihood, for their resources, to have a good life. And I don't think that is a good thing.
See, the way she characterized it was like super bad. She's just like, well, women are going there because they want the woman to be dependent on them. It's not really that so much. I mean, if I had a lot of money here, like, I don't know if what makes me happy is just knowing someone's dependent on me. I mean, if I know someone's dependent on me, that makes me a little bit more worried or anxious. They're going over there to try to find someone that's willing to play a more traditional role with them and be happy about it, not just to find some poor person who's like super grateful to do that. That's not fun at all. But I think she's missing the point.
A lot of the men I know that go overseas to find wives are not great dudes.
Can you be more
Oh, come on. That's messed up.
more specific?
Yeah, they're pervy.
Okay. I mean, you know, it's just like, well, you know, she didn't like those guys and she got rejected. Why would women feel threatened by passport bros if they don't want those average men? I mean, yeah, that's a good question, but it also shows how women, at least that woman in the video, would characterize an average guy like, well, he's just like pervy because, you know, he wants me or something like that. It's like, come on. Like, you think these guys out, like, she's basically characterizing guys as like these like creeps. They're all just creeps if they go out there because they're just trying to get easy access to women. But, you know, if it was really about that, most of these guys would probably just get some underground, you know, illegal stuff instead of traveling halfway across the world. I think they're just so fed up with bullshit out here, and they're like, well, you know, it's tough out here, and if these women want me to buy them all this stuff, I might as well go somewhere else where it makes sense.
What are your thoughts on 90-Day Fiance or passport bros?
The passport bros make sense. I can see why men are incentivized to look elsewhere for more traditional qualities in women. 90-Day Fiance, though, I think they have a bad record of matching terrible people together.
Ooh, I think that show is just more about finding like the stuff they know. That's like the Jerry Springer of passport bros. Like, they know it's bad, you know. They do their best to find that really overweight woman, you know what I mean, from America, and put her with like this super in shape guy who'd probably be, you know, pretty sought after even over here. And the guy's like just looking for a citizenship or something. But to be honest, you know, when it comes to going overseas, like, it all depends how you're going to do it. If you're going to go there and live there, it's probably better than going there and getting married and bringing someone back. Like, you might be able to pull that off for a little bit, but if you bring her back here, man, you are kind of bringing a ticking time bomb back, because after a while, the laws here are going to work against you, and if she decides to leave, you're going to get screwed equally hard. Probably even worse if she's not working and you really got her as a stay-at-home mom.
Cool. I'm all for passport bros. If you want to go somewhere where they're going to love, respect you, cherish you, cook and clean, and they understand their roles, you should go somewhere where you're loved, because women in today's society, especially modern day women, not all women, it's just you guys forgot your roles. You're supposed to cook, you're supposed to clean, you're supposed to love your partner and take care of his heart and soul, just like men take care of us physically, mentally, and they provide for us. They never forgot their role. So, men, if you want to be a passport bro, I support it 100%. Have fun.
When it comes,
if a guy is gonna be traditional and want to be traditional himself, then yeah, I mean, it makes sense to be a passport bro, because you can put yourself in a pool where you have way more to pick from as far as women actually fulfilling that role, you know. But bringing them back here, and if the culture gets to them, they're gonna change, and pretty soon you're gonna be in the child support office.
comes to exotic women, what cultures do you prefer and why?
Hispanics, I guess, I like better.
Is your preference based more on looks or behavior?
Right now, I think looks, like we're young, so yeah. The only thing we think about it, like, you know, have fun.
They're keeping it super real. He said Hispanic. I mean, I've met some foreign Hispanic women, and they were all super cool. I met someone from Colombia, and then I even went on a few dates with a girl from Brazil. And more recently, someone from Portugal. But they all said the same thing to me. The first thing they all kind of mentioned is how bad the food is here. And not just by taste, but like the quality of food, which to me is really funny, because I've always believed that myself. But to hear it from them, you know, the milk is whack here, the eggshells are super thin, the butter sucks. But yeah, they're all really cool, easier to talk to. So I don't blame those guys. I wonder where those guys are from, though, just because they're probably from South America. But
I'm Jamaican, so I would naturally prefer my own culture. Why? Because there isn't much of a cultural barrier or language barrier to go over. But also, there's a stereotype that Asian women are a little bit more traditional, a little bit more feminine. So I'm got my eyes on them as well.
Okay, so he's from Jamaica. I actually tried Jamaican food for the first time. It's like a year ago, and it was hella good. Jamaican food actually reminds me of where I'm from. There was a lot of similar dishes there, actually. But I had these garbanzo beans and okra, and man, it was really freaking good. I had it in Miami. Try Vision. Welcome in, bro. Appreciate you.
When the woman and the man have a date, the man is buy everything, and in the American, we share the man and woman share when we have a date.
So you're saying?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, to be honest, like 90% of the dates I've gone on, I have been the one to pay. I mean, I'm not saying she's wrong. Maybe that's been her experience here dating. She's been in the U.S., but like, she's right and she's wrong, because I feel like on the ground most of the time a guy ends up paying anyways, even in the U.S.
In Vietnam, he pays, and in America, they split. Like they share, they split the money.
Yeah. In the American, you share the money.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
Do you like that? Which is better, Vietnam or in America?
I think it's American is better. Yeah, better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the woman have a work and the man have a work too. We say is for fair. Yeah.
You know, and that sounds good on the surface. Like if we can carry that over from paying for the dates and get that into putting a down payment on a house together and paying the bills together, you know, then yeah, maybe, you know, that's cool. But the problem is sometimes a lot of people don't want to do that. And, you know, when the divorce comes, you've signed a 50-50 contract, and then usually the guy ends up having to pay out more. So I like what she's saying. It would be nice if some of that 50-50 payout was on the back end also.
Over there in Italy, it's more like for the
they're Italian. Okay.
family and for the husband, like cook, clean, and all this stuff. Here it's more like, oh, you're a man, you can do it. Or like, why I have to do it for you when I work? Yeah, but I work too, you know. So if I work and I'm gonna do it, and you work and I'm gonna do it, like who's gonna clean the house? Who's gonna cook?
You know, and I'll be honest, if I could give them the argument that like, well, I work too, so why should I be the only one cleaning? But as long as they're also paying for the bills, right? Like they're like, oh yeah, I put down on that house we're living in. You know what I mean? I'm paying half the mortgage. Why should I be the only one cleaning? All right, shit. All right. Fucking, the problem is though, it's not, they're not wanting to do the cooking, but then they're also not wanting to do the bill paying. So how does that work, you know?
Women are definitely equipped with a lot more traditional skills, i.e. cooking, cleaning, and a con, I would say, is they're just as sometimes very assertive or outgoing as some of the males are. And yeah, feminism is kind of creeping its way in, just little by little.
Oh, damn. Yeah. You know what's funny? So I met this Portuguese girl. I met her on Facebook dating, but we've been talking on Instagram, and she's really cool. But she's like only been here for like 9 months, and she lives like a few hours away, so I haven't met her up. But what was pretty cool is one night we were just talking on Instagram, and we did like a video chat, and I was just laying in bed, and she's like, do you want to watch me make dinner? And she was making like bread from scratch. And she was just telling me about how expensive food is in Portugal. And, you know, people only make like $600 a month, but the food's costs almost as much as here because the economy's not good. And it was just really nice, like watching someone, like she knew how to make bread from scratch and do all this. And I was like, damn, this is kind of relaxing and nice. And she also told me that the food quality here is really not good. But there was just something about that moment, you know, and when he just talks about women cooking and cleaning and that kind of stuff, I don't know, like, I don't think I know many American women who can actually cook. And I'm 33 now. And, you know, if I did get in a relationship with someone, probably going to be someone from here, I don't even know if I want them cooking for me. I don't really trust their decisions when it comes to the food that they're going to want to eat. It's probably going to be hella bad stuff. I don't want no McDonald's, you know what I mean? And stuff like that in the house. And I'm so used to cooking my own food at this point. Like, I just like it the way I like it. I don't know what, you know, I've just been like this for so long now. That's just the way it is.
Do you think the reason that men are not like satisfied with the women in this country and they're looking elsewhere outside?
Men aren't satisfied with the women in this country?
Oh, damn. Man, can you imagine coming home and just hearing this loud ass voice? Like, I'd be like, damn, come on, chill out.
Where are you getting this off of?
Well,
the whole Passport Bros movement.
Passport Bros and 90 Day Fiance. I mean, obviously there's a movement about that.
That is the outlier. That is the exception to the rule. I don't think the majority of men are not happy with women in this country.
You know what's funny? I mean, this was probably filmed. See, this was 8 months ago, and you know, recently we've had a lot of articles about like marriage kind of going down, and a lot more men not being in relationships from 18 to 29. So there's all these stats now that, like, maybe 8 months ago, maybe they weren't really here, but looking back at this now, I mean, we definitely know there's a problem. So maybe she's changed her opinion on that.
Does a woman's behavior play any role in how she's treated by men?
Yes, huge role actually. How you carry yourself and how you behave towards yourself and how you treat others is a very good indicator of how people treat you and how you actually expect to be treated. So yeah.
So
that's just so true because, you know, especially if a woman acts you know, really masculine, which is fine. I mean, we live in a free country. You live however you want. But depending on the interaction you have with the woman, it really is going to kind of color how that relationship is going to go. And if she's very headstrong and just very active and dominant, then, well, you know, the way I interact with them is different because it's like I can't sit here and be on times 20 to try to like pack this thing back into a feminine box. It's just too much work.
Why are people so quick to blame the man when things go wrong in a relationship?
Because it's still their fault.
Okay, now she's just being funny.
Why is that?
Well, because I'm a woman and I know best.
She's just trying to be triggering. Come on now.
That's because men are always willing and ready to take the responsibility even when things are going to shit. I myself have taken blame for things that I haven't necessarily been responsible for, so it's just a thing that men are innately going to shoulder the burden and the responsibility even if it's not ours to bear.
Do you believe it's a man's duty to respect a woman regardless of how she treats him in return?
No. Respect begets respect. You being disrespectful, of course, there's a line that men try.
What the heck? $50? Oh my God. Wow. Dude, I didn't know, like, that's really freaking cool. I got to actually commemorate this. So TriVision just donated $50, and this is the first super chat I've ever received. I don't even know how to put it up on screen, which is a damn shame because if anything deserves to be put up on stream, it's this. It says I can send a heart. Put user. Damn it. Well, I'm sorry, TriVision. I wish I can get you up on stream here so we can celebrate this. But I do have to take a moment and thank you for that $50 because that's a big ass amount. This is the first super chat I've ever got on the stream, so you will be commemorated. If I ever have kids and grandkids, I'll be telling them about you, about when this happened. And man, my heartfelt thanks. And just so you know, all the money that's sent to me on this channel is going to be spent on fun things. It's not going to be going into a Roth IRA. You know, it's not going to be paying somebody else's bills. It's going to be going towards camera gear. It's going to be going towards, you know, probably me going on dates with women. And, you know, just things to just some nicer clothes, maybe some gold. All these cool, awesome things. Maybe even some traveling. So, hey, thank you, man. That means a lot, bro. It really does. And I'll get back to the show now because I'm probably being annoying. But all right, let's go.
To not cross, but that's a situation where you just need to exit the situation and leave right away.
Does a woman's behavior...
Oh, shit. Yeah, sorry. The respect thing. All I was going to say about the respect thing is just not to... You know, when someone's disrespecting you, all you can really do, especially in the U.S., is just walk away. And I found myself in these situations, especially like with women, and I've somehow magically been able to like control myself and leave every time. But I did feel pissed off about it for a while. But then after like months have gone by and I got over it, I was always glad I didn't let out my anger. Your camera quality is already super dope. Yeah, you're right, man. I really don't need any more camera gear than I already got. I also got 2 webcams. Just to, you know. Hey, I also got the soundboard that I should start using. This is inspired by Coach's soundboard, Free Agent Lifestyle. I really love his channel, and he's like one of my inspirations. But I won't annoy you guys with these, but I do got some funny ones. And then I actually got another. If you want to see where the magic happens, man, let me just show you something just to be real. Like, look at this carpet looks so bad, not because I wanted this carpet, but because it was the most affordable when I bought it. And now I have all this furniture over it, and the best I can do is probably put another carpet over it. But I wish I would have chose a different one when I got it. So you have a dope setup going on, man. You will grow, bro. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot, bro. Every like and everything really helps, and I appreciate everybody who's helped to lift me up from off the bottom, man. And I recently just got monetized, and that took me a lot of years. So it's hard work, man, but it's fun work, which I like.
Play any role in how she's treated by men?
Yes. Yeah.
So why are people so quick to blame the man when things go wrong in a relationship?
Because the men are supposed to be the breadwinners. It's easy to blame them.
Because women don't like accountability. Women don't like being wrong, and nobody holds women accountable. They enable women, so it's easier to blame the man, like always.
It's not always the guy's fault, but people are quick to judge the guy faster than they are the girl. So
why is that?
I don't know. People just perceive men bad.
They do.
And I don't agree with it, but that's just how guys are perceived. So
there are good men out there. You just gotta
find them, pick through them.
Yeah.
You know, that question I feel like is a lot deeper than it leads on initially, because It's Complicated is getting at, I just think, a much deeper concept. It's like, well, we know men are treated unfairly sometimes, but why are they treated unfairly sometimes? And when you start thinking about it, you know, if women don't have accountability, it's because our culture constantly treats women as victims. And if women are always victims, then what does that make men? Well, that makes men kind of not able to be victims. And if you can't see a man as ever being a victim because if a man's in a crappy situation, people are like, you need to man up and you need to take care of it and stop being a victim. You're not a victim. Well, and if the laws are oppressive to men and they are unfair, especially with like paternity laws and things like that, but we also simultaneously can't see men as victims, then how is anything supposed to change? And, you know, we have to see men as victims. And these women on the screen almost got it. They're like, for some damn reason, yeah, I mean, you know, well, men are supposed to be the breadwinners, so it's easier to yell at them, but they're like almost there.
Who is more likely to be expected to settle for a partner that doesn't treat them right, men or women?
Wow.
We all know that one.
That one's tricky, but I do want to say men. Men 9 times out of 10 they date and marry down, so they're going to be the ones that are going to be more than likely unsatisfied.
Maybe
I agree with that. I mean, at least culturally, a lot of people will tell women not to settle or you deserve better or whatever. But with men, it's like, well, your standards are too high. I don't know if anyone in your life has ever told you your standards are too high. And I could see how that could be constructive advice sometimes, like really depending who you are. But at the same time, it's like you should have some standards, you know. The whole concept of settling is actually interesting. I think It's Complicated Channel has a episode on settling. I should probably watch that one. Maybe I'll look for that after this if we got some time and any folks in here are interested to see that. But in this weird way, it's like anybody who gets into a relationship or a marriage is settling by default, right? Because you're settling when you come off the market. You know what I mean? You're just like, well, all right, you know, there's a lot of things I like about this person, and nobody's perfect, but this is what it's gonna be. I'm gonna go forward with this. At least that's how it used to be.
it's not the majority of men, but it's starting to become a movement.
Well, fuck you. Go away. Go find your women wherever you want. If you're not satisfied, I don't know what to tell you. If you want a woman who barely even speaks English and just has to suck your dick, go for it.
I don't know where he found this lady. Like, I hope she's being funny, but it's like when someone gets angry like that, it's almost justifying why they're leaving to go become a passport bro. I mean, it's like, man, this whole like men only want sex thing it's always a horrible accusation when women throw that at you. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, if you just want someone to just suck your dick, you know what I mean? It's like, well, no, that's not just what the guy wants. The guy also wants companionship. Intimacy is just as important as the rest of the stuff. You know what I mean? But when a woman like this kind of sees a guy walking away, she just makes all the worst assumptions, you know? I do hope and pray maybe she finds someone that she loves and likes her, and you know, there might need to be a little bit of introspection that happens here before all of that can take place, though.
Well, I'm just asking on behalf of those men, I suppose. So, if your average man is treated better by women overseas, why do men prefer to stay here and play the game when the odds are so heavily stacked against them?
Well, I think it's because it's what they know, and the thing that the United States has going for it is that the money's all here.
Yeah.
So we all have to make a living and support ourselves and our lifestyles.
Yep.
So that's the reason, because you end up missing our culture we grew up in when you live in another country. But I'll tell you what, it's such a different feeling when you're in another country, how great you get treated as a man.
Man, it is really true. But yeah, the hard part about all of this is, and the sad truth is that, well, a lot of people can't just up and go because, you know, it's not like everyone has that magical digital nomad remote job. And it's tough, especially nowadays, because the way we're worked, like you got to be somewhere 5 days a week. Like, what if you're a construction worker or a plumber, or you work as a car mechanic? Being a passport bro is pretty hard. That's where the import thing starts to become an idea. But that's tough, and that takes time, you know. I did know one coworker, actually. This guy went through a terrible divorce. actually, you know, I worked at the child support office for 5 years, so that's. But anyways, I had this coworker, and it was crazy. I worked at the child support office, and I would see guys working at the child support office that was like going through divorces or were paying child support themselves, and it was just this very weird, super lucid moment sometimes for me. But yeah, this other guy I knew, he went to Southeast Asia, and I saw him go through his whole divorce. It was bad, and I was there long enough to see him find a nice woman from Southeast Asia, and he ended up getting married to her and bringing her over. And I remember, because, you know, him and I would go on walks, and I would go by his desk, and like one day, like suddenly he always had these really nicely packed lunches. And it was like, it was all very interesting food too, like very, like it looked flavorful. I can smell it. There's like a bowl of rice. There was a bowl of some kind of Asian dish, you know what I mean? And it was all homemade. And I was like, damn, okay, this was worth it for you, you know? So I still remember that. But yeah, if you can't go, I mean, it's an option, but you got to be careful, because if that goes bad, I mean, I saw cases where like people brought over foreign women and then they're getting divorced, and you know, the judge is like, hey, you brought her here, so you got to take care of her now, even though she's getting divorced. And that's the decision you made. So yeah, you know, it's a risk either way.
Essentially, why should men spend so much time grooming themselves to please the toxic women here?
They take what they can get because they have to. That's how society has played them into, you know, doing that. You know, good men aren't appreciated.
So
see, that's actually a good question. Like, why would men focus so much on becoming this like really perfect, successful thing in order to be taken advantage of by someone? And I think that guy answered it more so in like the average man's perspective of like, well, you know, you got to take what you can get. But I think his question was more geared at, why should someone become high value? Like, that word high value wasn't there, but becoming high value to the point where you then marry someone here and then open yourself up to this huge potential problem. You know what I mean? And, you know, that I used to watch Kevin Samuels back in the day, and I really liked the show. May God rest his soul. But he would talk to the women mainly, and to women, he was kind of selling this idea of like become a more pleasant to be around, agreeable, and more of a traditional woman, and you're going to be more likely to find a high value man. And I used to watch that, and because, you know, I worked at the child support office, and I read thousands of divorce orders. It was my job, and I'd always see like what the incomes were, how it happened, and you know, the guys who were married to ladies that weren't working, they had like the roughest divorces. But I always used to just think like, you become high value, and then if you marry someone that's way lower on the economic ladder than you, like, you are putting yourself in a very vulnerable position. And, you know, if you look at celebrities, like Tyrese Gibson's a good example. He just went through it. You know, Kevin Costner. I like Brendan Fraser because I used to really like the movie The Mummy when I was younger, but he went through child support hell. That guy like went through child support and then ended up going bald and gaining a bunch of weight. It was crazy. He just recently came back. You know, and then you look at guys like Andrew Tate or a lot of these other people, like, they're quote unquote high value, but there's no such thing as being high value enough to avoid getting screwed over by the system. So a lot of these guys leave. I mean, they're going to go to Dubai or I guess Romania or wherever. And it's like, well, you know, if you're going to do that anyways. Yo, John McCallion, good to see you, bro. Welcome in, man. I just thought I'd try a live stream today. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you, man. So, yeah, we're just talking about passport bros. Anyways, let's get back into it.
I feel as though there's some men who do groom themselves for women because men want to provide and protect and all that good stuff, but I do feel like it's part of their thing that they want to do for themselves. I don't think men should do that. That's just my personal opinion.
And you know, it's like self-improvement's good, right? And we've always had self-improvement before the manosphere stuff. We've had, you know, the self-improvement just motivation gym guys. You know, we had the self-improvement financial dudes, and they all had their place on YouTube and the books and all these kinds of things. But it's like when you ask yourself, like, how much self-improvement do you really got to do to get a girl? Like, it shouldn't be, if you're living in your mom's basement, it shouldn't be more than like losing weight, having a better diet, maybe doing like moderate workouts so you're not like, you know, you got like a little bit of shape, and then getting a car, like even a Honda Accord will do, and then like, you know, also having a job, like maybe a decent enough full-time job, right? Like, should you really have to need way more than that to get a girl? And then if the answer is yes, well, you need to. It's like, where does it end? You know what I mean? Like, I just think people need to be a little more realistic about self-improvement. Self-improvement's good. Mr. E, welcome in. Rich or average men both screwed. It's not authentic. It's never going to last. Well, yeah, because, I mean, you know, in this weird way, I feel like a lot of the high-value gurus who sell like, hey, being high value will get you this. Most of those guys probably could already get chicks before they became rich, right? And it's like, it's way more important for a guy to learn how to get a girlfriend and deal with women before he gets rich, because if you get screwed over, you have a lot less to lose. But if you become a doctor, you go to medical school and you're a brain surgeon now, and you're like, I did it. I'm going to finally start getting these chicks. And then like 3 years later, so this happened actually. There was actually a case. It was this Persian guy, and he married, you know, how would you describe her? Like a kind of classic Barbie blonde, right? And this guy was made some good money, and you know, he was living that life, and then he got screwed over, and he was paying a lot of money in alimony and child support. And I just remember looking at that case, and my coworker was actually the one who told me about it and, you know, showed me that stuff. But that guy got screwed over so hard. You know what I mean? He's like, I did everything right, and that woman played his ass, you know? And it's like, I'd rather get played as a poor guy than get played as a rich guy, because at least I can swallow that and then learn the lesson. You know, so it sucks, man. Our society, the more successful you are when it comes to like marriage, it's just going to screw you over harder. It's not that they want an average girl. They want the IG models, 8s, 9s, and 10s. Yeah. And that's true. And that's what the Persian guy did. The doctor, he married like one of these classic Barbie blondes, I guess you can say. And, you know, he was leading with his wallet, she was leading with his looks, and they came together, and when the time was right, you know, she pulled the plug. She was like, pay me now. And he was like, damn it, I thought we were good, and they were in fact not good. And, you know, it's just a lesson for us all. I'm glad I was overweight in my 20s. I learned the game by trial and error, or else I would have gotten screwed over for sure. Yeah. You know, and it's like, man, when I really think about it, like, listen, if the red pill guys wanted to be super toxic, like, if they wanted to be super toxic, this is the message that they would send. They would be like, hey, go out there and use your game skills and find like a nice pharmacist or a nurse or, you know, some woman who makes like 100, like that's whatever it is, and charm that woman. Okay, so now you're this guy making $60K a year, and she's making $250K a year, and you guys get married. That's the situation you want to be in, because if the divorce happens, which it's unlikely to, because she's going to get screwed over, you're going to be getting alimony. If you got 50% custody, you're going to be getting child support. And then, like, if you really want to be super Machiavellian and toxic, and I don't even recommend this, I think this is unethical and bad, and you definitely should not do this. But you can lock that woman down, and then all of a sudden you can start, quote unquote, spinning plates with all your other chicks that you want to do in the background. That's what winning looks like, unfortunately. And I hate that we live in a society where like people would ever consider that option. But if you think you're going to be a high value man, and then you're going to marry a stay-at-home mom, and you're going to like not have the sort of Damocles over you, man, you got another thing entirely. And honestly, being a passport bro, so there was a case I saw. It was like he was a Marine, and what he did is he went to the Philippines. I think he was stationed out there for some time or something, but he ended up getting with the Filipino girl. And you know, typically that's fine if you go out there to live there, but he brought her. Well, actually, there was two cases. One of them, he brought her back. Was that the Marine? That was the Marine. But there was another one where the guy just had kids and he left him over there. So he was actually kind of smart. His plan was like, I'm going to keep the family over there, right? But what ended up happening is that since we have such a sophisticated child support system in the U.S., all she had to do in the Philippines was call our office. And since he's based here in the U.S., instead of him, you know, Western Union and $300 a month, and that probably took care of their needs. Our office went after him with California guidelines and sent her direct payments of the child support, straight, a wage assignment from his work, way more money than probably what he was sending her. And so these foreign women are able to take advantage of our legal system in order to, they don't have to be U.S. citizens to get you in child support court here, is all I'm saying. So if they ever get wise to things like that, if you're going to go there and move there, then it's probably better. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. Sometimes our system is like having your 4th grade teacher in your life again. I'm glad I was overweight in my 20s. I learned the game by trial and error, or else I would have gotten screwed over for sure. Yeah, I got screwed over, and thank God I just had a normal job. I also noticed no one talks about using protection. So if a girl is 10, what if she has all these STDs? Is she still high value? Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother concern. Man, yeah, that's a whole nother concern, honestly. I mean, me working at the child support office, I'm big on using protection just because I know what's gonna, happen if you don't. And here's the thing: you'll get in a good conversation like with the woman, and I've had these conversations with women because I haven't dated like the most, but I've dated enough where women are like, well, I don't want to use protection anymore with you. And I always thought that was weird because I always thought it was guys who pushed for not wanting to use protection. I didn't know it was the woman, and I'm pretty strict about using condoms. And they were like, well, and I'd be like, okay, let's sit down and have this talk. So we sit down, we're having the talk, and I'm like, are you on birth control? And someone would be like, no, it messes with my hormones and my period. I don't like to be on it. I'm like, oh, that's fine. Well, what if you got pregnant? What would you do? Like, would you get an abortion? And I've had some people that were like, yeah, I'd do that. Or I'm on birth control and I'd get the abortion. And I've had other women that will look at me dead in the eye and be like, I will not kill my child. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to have to keep using protection, and in my mind, I do kind of know that relationship is on its way out because they want something. They do want that unprotected sex. And if the fact is if they're not getting what they want in a long enough timeline, they will go get what they want. But I just can't take this chance where suddenly I'm sitting in the child support office looking at one of my coworkers and they're like, Shah, what the hell are you doing in here? And I'm like, man, I don't know, man. She got me, bro, But I did have this other girl, she was on birth control, but man, and it's messed up. And I have PTSD from working at the child support office. Like I have real PTSD. She's like, I'm on birth control. I will get an abortion if she told me all these things, and I still couldn't pull the trigger with her, man. I couldn't do it, bro. Because what if, what if she gets pregnant and then when they're 2 months pregnant, she might have a change. She's going to be like, you know what? I can't kill my baby. I know I said, this is what I wanted to do, but now that I'm in it, I can't. And then you're just kind of like, well, this is what's going on now, but it's something to really think about, man. And see, I didn't even talk about the STDs. I forgot about that part. Just like my mind goes straight to that. But yeah.
Groom yourself for you. Love yourself for you, not for others.
My bad. Realistically, what portion of working men can afford their wife to stay at home and raise their kids? That's a great point. Not a lot of them can. I mean, where I live, the average home price is probably like, almost $500,000. And I mean, if people were getting married in their early 20s, like maybe, but they can't. And you know what's funny? I did a reaction to a video of Officer Tatum on the Whatever podcast, and he's asking Brian why he doesn't want to get married. But there was a part in there where he's like, well, money's not an issue. You can, if you work hard enough, you can make your wife stay at home even if you're not rich. And it's funny. He's like, he says you don't need 2 incomes. Okay. And then literally immediately after, he's like, well, if the man works harder and takes a night shift. And in my mind, I'm like, dude, you said you guys don't need 2 incomes. And then your answer to this is to tell the guy to get 2 incomes. It was crazy, man. $500K. I'm moving to your neck of the woods, Shah. Oh man. I mean, it's like, well, I don't live in the nice part, but I mean like around here and like what the house that I live in is worth now. I still live in the house I grew up in, you know what I mean? So I just, I'm just being honest, but back then when my parents bought this years ago, it was like 80 and now it's over there 500. It doesn't make any sense. And so a house of comparable value for where I'm at, and I don't even live in the nicest neighborhood, I'm just being honest, that's what it is. I mean, both people kind of got to work.
Women, especially in today's generation where women are showing they don't care about men and they don't give a shit about them, yeah.
Why are you more likely to see female empowerment in first world countries?
Wow, great question there. Well, it's our culture. It's passed down from woman to woman, depending on where you're raised. That's why the family unit is so important, man and woman raised in the family, because it gives you the correct outlook on life.
See, I don't think his answer was bad, but I look at it as like it's straight proportional to the amount of wealth in an economy. It's like if you have enough wealth where you can afford these technologies that give women more control over their bodies, like birth control and abortion as an option, and then you can also afford social welfare programs. So if someone doesn't take the birth control and they end up, needing help from the government, like it's feminism can spread so much because we have enough wealth in this country in order to be like, hey, we're so rich over here, like even our women can do these things. You know what I mean? Like where you guys aren't this rich and you guys can't do that. And it only can take root in a very rich economy. But if that economy starts going bad and these social welfare programs start going away, then I think people will just, if they want to survive long term, will have to pair up and do these kinds of things. Is this taking place in Vegas? Came in late. Yeah, this channel, Itscomplicated channel, he does a lot of interviews on the Strip there in Vegas.
And lastly, if there was one thing you wish men understood better about women, what would it be?
Understood?
Yeah.
I think the man cannot understood women.
Why not?
The women, they always think another one and say another one.
So why do we have the expression, where have all the good men gone, but nobody's asking where have all the good women gone?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I feel like there still is good men out here. I'm not saying.
Oh my God. Right when she said that, this guy had to come out here and make us all look bad. We almost had a win, guys.
I'm not saying there's no good women out here, but I feel like all the feminists and the women that are bad are shouting from the rooftops, and there's not enough women, that care about men that have a big voice about it.
It sucks because, well, manosphere is generally, criticized for asking that question, like where are all the good women, or at the very least kind of calling women out for not being in their traditional roles. But the main problem is that our society will not raise women to be in their traditional roles, but then men are expected to be in their traditional roles. And it's a step further than that. It's like, not only are you expected to be in your traditional roles, but you got to be hyper in your traditional role to be able to satisfy this. And it just doesn't work for marriage. You know what I mean? You can't do everything. And it just leads to a breakdown. And to me, it's not even really about the relationship dynamic so much as it is about the laws. It used to be really hard to get divorced. The divorce laws were actually fashioned in a way that was about curtailing divorce, and that if people were going to get divorced, they needed to go through some stuff in order to get a court to be like, all right, you guys are divorced now. And nowadays, it's actually a lot easier to get divorced. So it's just because that barrier to entry to get in the divorce club is so easy that most people just kind of call it, and I don't really believe that we can go back to this at-fault magical time where divorce was hard. I think we have to focus on reforming divorce to accept what the new norm. I have the opinion, man, that the Pandora's box is opened, and it's not going to be closing. Unless maybe we have a societal-wide catastrophe and then it needs to rebuild from caveman times. But hey, it's way far gone for me. I think women are going to keep all their rights. And if we're going to reform marriage laws, it has to be in a way that accommodates a lot of this. So, it's not even so much the relationship dynamics to me as it is that the laws just facilitate divorce way too easy.
Are women the problem, or are the people influencing women the problem?
It's all the influences on women, actually. since when they're little girls. Me raising 2 girls now that are teens as a widower, you see it. I see what they're bombarded with on a daily basis. It's definitely our culture.
Wow, 100% the people influencing the women are the problem. Naturally,
see, it's like, I mean, yeah, it's the influence and all that, but it's the laws too. You know what I mean? Like the laws really enable this. You know what I mean? And it's like, if we want a certain kind of society, then we need laws crafted to keep people within certain parameters and say, hey, this is out of bounds when you do that. But we don't have that. I mean, someone can unilaterally divorce, and that's not going away. Like if one person wants to divorce, our culture now the concept of consent has changed in our culture. It used to be 2 people go to the altar, everybody's watching, they're like, I do. These 2 people are going to be together now. Nobody do anything. Don't intrude. And that was consent. But now there's also that consent, and then there's also, well, I'm sick of this and I'm leaving and you don't have my consent to stay in here. And that's just, you know, that is the biggest defining thing that also helps craft the culture that we have now. So the laws enable that.
I think women know what's right and they know kind of where to fall into place. Women know they're weaker physically, sometimes even mentally. They know sometimes they really depend on men, but because of the messaging and the marketing that's so powerful, it's going to be hard to get away from that brainwashing.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, I always think too, like, man, you know, like when someone does something bad and like if you have a daughter and all of a sudden she like becomes a stripper and it's like, oh man, like what did the father do wrong? You know, like, oh man, you know, society kind of looks at that and like, well, maybe he wasn't in her life, but you as a father in this country, you have very little authority over your family. And I mean, once your daughter is 18, I mean, you know, the internet's going to get to them. Like you can try your best to put values in that, but you don't really have much control over what they decide to do. Yet you're still going to be blamed when they decide to do stuff. And of course you can try your best and give them values and stuff, but our culture is so like acidic. It's just like throwing hydrochloric acid at something and it just erodes these values, and it's so corrosive that you're really fighting an uphill battle here. It's just a double standard that we're like, it was all the dad's fault, he screwed up, but it's like there was so much enabling going on to begin with. Let's say if all the men on IG, OnlyFans, and other social apps would unfollow girls they don't know and retract all their simping comments, do you think that would change women? Oh, that's a great question, man. I think it would, because, well, you know, so okay, this is assuming all the guys actually hold the line here, because, you know, the more people do this, the more other people will see openings and try to do that. But, you know, basically what you're saying by that is we're taking away their amount of options, whether real or perceived. And with OnlyFans, it's also taken away their income, right? And probably even IG and some of these other social media platforms where viewership gets you money. I think they would, because they would probably be a lot more willing to come back to the table and negotiate in a traditional way. But the question is, how do you get guys to do that? It would definitely change things, because social media has been, you know, again, another piece of technology, just like birth control, has been a huge thing to enable the sort of market and the dating situation we have now, because men and women can meet each other from all these different places, and they can constantly do that. And we're just kind of stuck in this sort of tit for tat war. But if it wasn't like that, you know, it was more like back in the day where you kind of only knew the people in your circle a little bit, and I think it would facilitate more traditional relationships. But yeah, I definitely think it would change. Absolutely. Since all the validation would be gone. What I said is on some movie-ish, Lamau, would never happen in the real world. Yeah, that's the hard part. I mean, it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, if it became illegal, you know, maybe. I mean, but that's, you know, obviously, like, that would be a tough law to pass. It kind of makes me think, like, I've been asked before, like, if prostitution was legal, would people still go to OnlyFans? You know, like, okay, if they can go to a brothel or something and get a woman to do the actual thing instead of paying for like digital version of it, would the digital version die? I guess we don't know, because maybe people would still be. I've heard a lot of married guys are the ones who actually pay for this stuff, and it's not the guy living in mom's basement, which kind of makes sense, because it's like, does the guy living in mom's basement have a lot of money to be buying this stuff in the first place? But IG is free, but but yeah, that could collapse it. But yeah, I mean, it ain't looking like it's gonna happen anytime soon, But it would change. If you took away social media as a tool, basically, it would change.
It's not really fair because, we're persecuted for every decision we make, but women are allowed to act trashy and disrespect themselves and disrespect men, but no one wants to stand up and say, hey, enough is enough.
Why do so many men think foreign women are the answer if many of those women will use men for citizenship?
Oh, man, he just flipped. It's Complicated just flipped the whole game in this episode.
Because they can get about 5 levels of a higher of a partner than they could here in the United States, and that's the trade-off.
Man, I got a buddy who just got married. I was actually invited to the wedding. It was in Bali, and I wanted to go, but man, the ticket was like $2,500 to fly there, and I really wish I could have went, but it just like financially it wasn't working out for me. But it's funny because I kind of make fun of him a little bit. We did throw a good bachelor party for him, and as a kind of apology that I couldn't go. But I kind of make fun of him and call him a passport bro. He's an Indian guy, and he met an Indian. He works in finance, and he met an Indian woman over there in Singapore, is where they met. And, he tells me what dating is like over there. Like, if you go there and you open up the Hinge app and all these kinds of things. I also got another buddy who went to the Philippines. Like, you get matches and all this kind of stuff. And the couple times I've went traveling, women are definitely a lot more in shape. You know what I mean? They're more attractive and all that stuff. But he met this woman, and he got married to her, and he brought her back. They live in the Bay Area now. And I don't blame him for doing that. Bringing her back is one thing. That's cool. But I can see why, because we went to high school together. He's my age, and I've watched his entire dating life, and it's just funny that I've seen him go out with American women, and when he finally gets married, it's like a straight foreign girl. He's a passport bro in my eyes.
I think men innately know that there's always a trade-off. There's always something that they're willing to give up and that they're willing to sacrifice to find love. You going to another country to find love is already an arduous and difficult task. So they know that there's obviously going to be some drawbacks.
A lot of people don't want to change their lifestyle either. Like, a man probably content in his lifestyle that he has here, and he don't want to change his whole beliefs and whole custom and learn a whole new country. So
why are men always expected to sacrifice while women are always expected to be compensated?
Again, we're the ones willing to do so.
This goes into what we were talking about earlier. It's that our culture can't see men as victims ever. Like, even if a guy is a victim of paternity fraud, I've seen that happen many times. Our culture is just not happy with this idea of men being able to be victims, because if the patriarchy is men and men are oppressing, the other side here, how is it that a man can be a victim when they're advantaged by this system, quote unquote? You know what I mean? They're part of the bad guys, even if you're homeless on the street. So that's kind of why.
We don't have a problem with sacrificing, even though, sure, having to work 23 hours a day, we'll do it because it's a sacrifice we're willing to make. It's just something that comes with being a man.
I hate that he's kind of right about that. It's like, if it's for your family and stuff, of course you'll do it. It just kind of goes without saying.
And I don't think they're willing to do it, and that's what's going to be the major difference.
If it wasn't for sex, do you think men would be willing to make that sacrifice?
Hey, there's a lot of guys in dead bedrooms that make that sacrifice for like 10 years.
No.
So isn't it really all just about the power of the vajayjay?
Yeah, pretty much. Power to pum pum.
Well, I hope it's also about guys falling in love. Well, that was this one. Let's look at the comments real quick. I like to read the comments on these kinds of things. Let's see here. Oh, shoot. This one's pinned. Men don't need a slave to clean the house and cook food. We want partners who are not entitled to things, don't cause drama, and actually contribute to the relationship based on their strengths. Yeah, I don't like the characterization that it's about men wanting like a maid or a housekeeper. That's That's like if a woman ever accuses you, like, all you want is sex. Like, anything you've ever did that was truly because you liked her, she in that moment discounts when she says something like that. Like, no, I have real feelings for you. You know what I mean? But to say all you want a woman for is for these compartmentalized reasons is stupid. Like, there is such a thing as loving someone and intimacy and all these kinds of things. And unfortunately, the intimacy just seems to be being monetized to a heavy degree nowadays, and it's just a little bit too much to deal with, which kind of sucks. The blonde woman with the colorful blazer is the epitome of why men are opting out. Let's look for another one. They want to be married, but never want to be a wife. And men want to be married too. And I mean, that's why they would go so far as to be a passport bro. As a Jamaican, I respect how the Jamaican dude articulated himself. Very well done, and he's right. Feminism is slowly creeping in, and our women are becoming women because of it. But to be fair, the men are becoming weak. You know, the thing about the feminism creeping in is it's not accidental. I mean, it is kind of a soft power from social media, but it's also a deliberate thing because the U.S. will send funding to other countries in order to spread these values, right? And you can kind of soften them up that way. And I know that because, you know, I'm ethnically Pakistani. I've gone there a couple times, but I remember during COVID, there was a COVID bill going through the House. And I remember it was on the news. There was a blurb in there about why we were sending X and X million dollars to spread for women's rights in Pakistan. They're like, what does that have to do with our COVID bill? And it was in the news. And I remember catching that, and I remember seeing that in the bill. And I remember like 6 to 8 months later in Islamabad, in the capital of Pakistan, there was a My Body, My Choice rally. And I then was able to put together how like, oh, okay, so that money passed through the budget. And now 6 months later, I'm magically seeing these protests over here in Pakistan. And, you know, it was on the news over there and all that stuff. So, you know, places like Jamaica, places like this, it's more than just like people seeing stuff on TV. It's also our government actively funding different movements in different countries in order to probably create a more favorable environment for us internationally in terms of getting support on the ground for our values. Anyways, so that was Foreign Women. That was a good episode. I know I'm going on about 1 hour and 7 minutes. I don't want to shortchange anybody. Trivision came in here and gave me a crazy super chat. First super chat of the channel. Super happy. I wish I could award medals or something like that or some kind of badge. But I am willing to... I think It's Complicated Channel has done an episode on settling. Maybe we can watch that one if you guys feel like sticking around. If not, I mean, I'll probably call the stream. But if I get a couple of... Oh, there it is, settling. That one's 16 minutes. That one's a little bit longer. You can assign mods. Okay, yeah, I got to figure out how to do all that stuff. Like I also didn't know how to put the super chat on the screen, which I felt bad about. But I made sure to really shout him out. I don't know if he's still here. I also told him if I ever had kids and grandkids that I would be sure to tell him about that moment. And it is forever now on my YouTube channel. But yeah, I mean, or, you know, we can hang out for a little bit and I can always answer child support questions and stuff like that. Maybe I'll save settling for another stream. Here was kind of I'm not using Streamlabs. I was just doing this straight from OBS. But my plan basically is to, I still want to put out my usual like 2 or 3 videos a week. But then I also want to maybe do one stream a week, like on Sundays or Saturdays, like, I'll just need to choose a day and stick with it. But if I do like one stream a week, I think that'd be enough. And I would like to cultivate an audience both for the videos I post and also for live streaming, because there are certain things that just lend itself better for live streaming, where other things are kind of better as a video put out there, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, Trivision mentioned me in a post. Hey, thank you again, Trivision. Trivision's helping me out, man. I appreciate him. But, yeah, so my dad also texted me. My dad just made some goat. He just made some goat meat. Very traditional Pakistani food here. And it's goat with potatoes in a very hearty stew. And The weather's kind of cold around here, so man, I'm actually really super excited to eat that. So I probably will call the stream and you know, let you guys go. Again, shout out to TriVision. I appreciate that super chat. Freaking awesome. And John, it's great seeing you. Also, Mr. E, appreciate seeing you in here also. And man, I will try to make this a once a week thing, but I, you know, obviously got to focus on the meat of the channel, which is the videos. And hey, just before I go, I got to share something really cool with you guys. On my last video, Just Pearly Things actually left me a comment.
Hey, welcome back.
Which is just freaking cool. Check this out. I pinned it. I just want to share this. Look at that. Just Pearly Things on a This Is Shah video. I did talk about her a little bit, and she said, I'm not selling Wife School. I had kind of compared her Wife School. I mistook it as a program she was selling and compared it to like the Fresh and Fit High Value Academy and the Sneeko Creator Kit and, you know, the Andrew Tate Hustlers University. But she came in and she was like, I'm not selling Wife School. It's a channel I do for fun where I learn how to cook or whatever when I have time. I also call out the shitting on average men and law reform more than anyone. See example here. And she actually, so she sent a link to a Twitter post, but then she says, regardless, good commentary, keep it up, which super hyped me up. Like, I just thought, you know, she's such a huge creator, and to be watching my stuff, I was like, wow, that's freaking awesome. Now, I did try to shoot my shot here in this comment, and I was like, I asked her if she's basically down to interview me, because I would love to share my child support wisdom on her channel. And I know that's a big ask, and she'll probably never see this, but I did ask, you know what I mean? So, hey, you never know. She might be down. And if she's down, I can go on there and talk about, you know, my 5 years of working at the child support agency and maybe provide some education to her audience. But overall, man, I just think it was awesome. She left a freaking comment, and that's like a huge, I don't know, that's just like something that'll always be special on my channel. So big thanks to her. And here's her calling out the crapping on the average men. I support the Tates, but this stuff is out of touch. 45% of men do the infrastructure jobs that allow content creators like us to do what we do. Number one employer of men in the U.S. is truckers. We cannot do what we do without the men doing the average jobs in society. And she was responding to a Andrew Tate tweet here that said 95% of people are lazy losers who just want enough money to smoke some weed, marry a six, and play video games. And honestly, this is like my biggest problem with Andrew Tate's like, civilization is supposed to be for average people. People who are super capable can survive in the wild, all right? Like, they don't need civilization. Civilization is a bunch of average people coming together in order to create a system so we can actually be human. You know what I mean? So maybe we can become a little bit softer than what the environment would otherwise have us be, and then we can start, like, you know, making little trinkets, reading books, writing philosophy, writing poetry, art, all these other amazing things that society does, you know what I mean? And we all kind of just give up a little bit of our power in order to create this beautiful community. But then you got guys out here like Andrew Tate who are like, no, 95% of you are just lazy and should be high value. And that kind of stuff just annoys the hell out of me. You know what I mean? But hey, you know, it's what we're dealing with. Anyways, that was a special thing that happened to me. And I wanted to share that. So shout out to Pearl. I think I got my shout out horn. And I'm gonna go eat some goat now, and we'll do this again next week. This was fun. I'll try to keep it on a Sunday. The only thing that could derail this is if, like, you know, I get like a hot date with someone and I'm just like, man, I gotta go explore this. I gotta see what's going on here. I'm sorry, guys, but other than that, we'll be here next week. So take it easy, guys, and I appreciate everybody who watched. Let me go ahead and end the stream now. Oh, there it is, end stream.